Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to discuss with you ultralight hiking and some things I see that need to be thought out a little better. Anyway, we'll be right back with you. So welcome back to the channel everybody, and I want to discuss with you something that something I've done, I've paid attention to. Something I try to do, and that is really to make as compact and as lightweight as possible when it comes to my backpacking experience. I'm getting older. I'm not a young guy anymore because of my old profession. My back, my knees, my hips aren't as great as they could be. So I need a few more things for comfort. But at the same time, I have to compromise as much as I can on weight. There's a few things, though, that I see in the ultralight community that they compromise a little bit too much on. And this affects you in comfort. This affects you in emergencies and things that can happen. So it's something you have to be aware of. And I'm going to go through a little bit of a list of things and show you that I also do ultralight also, and what it's some problems I see within the ultralight community and equipment, and there's a lot of things I hear and see on when I look through, when I watch videos, this kind of stuff. Be right back. First thing that I've seen, and if you're not carrying very much weight, it's not a bad idea, but it's in the backpacks. You don't need a super heavy backpack. But you need to find something that's going to not only carry comfortable with a good suspension system that's also lightweight, but also will meet up to the stress. And that's an area I've seen a lot of. I have a Go Light Pinnacle. I think this is around 50 liters. I believe it is. I've had this right here for many, many years. This pack right here, I've used it a good bit. It's more like what we call in the Army an assault bag, because but the problem with that is that it really, because it has it has a soft back. The whole system is quite soft. It doesn't really stand up to you got to pack it right, but at the same time you got to use whatever you pack into it to sort of help make up for that. It doesn't have any kind of internal frame or external frame. I like something with a bit more frame to it. So I feel like I'm attaching the equipment to it and not necessarily to me. And this bag, although I enjoy the design of it, it's got two outside pockets on it. You can throw water bottles in it, a couple on each side. It's got a main compartment, which is a top loader. It doesn't have a whole lot of zippers on it. It has one zipper on an outside pocket. It's fantastic. I would like for it to have maybe a top cover on it. But in general, I like the style and design of it. What I don't like about it, though, is the quality. The quality is pretty crappy, okay? The buckles cannot handle, the Fastex buckles on it cannot handle the stress that of a heavy load. This right here is just something, like, look at that, it just pops right open. This right here, sucker, it pops open all the time on me. It just drives me a little bit crazy. The side buckles are all the same. And so for me, that is a no-go. When it comes to this pack right here. So that's one of the problems I see within the ultralight community, is that they have this tendency to use packs, and a lot of them are making packs now. So if you're going to make your pack on this kind of design, great design, but you need to reinforce the back a little bit more, I would say, with some kind of lightweight aluminum stays or some kind of polycarbonate form you can slide in. I don't think it would hurt anything. It would give you a little bit more strength to it, but I would go with a much better hardware when it comes to the buckles. I also have a Granite gear pack, which is a 60 liter, and it has the extra top part on it. I like that pack, the layout of it. The problem with it is, though, with a lot of these packs I find, not this one here, this one has a good wide back on it. You can really get your gear in there. But the other one, the Granite gear one I have, it is a little bit thin. And so, which means it rides higher up on your back, and I don't like that necessarily. I like something up over my shoulder, like something sitting more down by my shoulders, like the old Alice pack used to do, or still does, or something like that. But a problem with that bag, but an advantage of that bag, that Granite gear bag, they don't use a bunch of Fastex buckles, but they use another system that is a cord lock system, which works really well. And that I like a lot. It actually does work. It is actually quite strong. And another thing that's important, if you do build yourself a rucksack, make something that's easy to exchange out the buckles, this kind of stuff. A lot of them, they don't do that, so you have to go through a lot of extra work just to do that, and so that's a problem. So be wary when it comes to your backpack, okay? You don't want something too heavy. I've seen them where they're like 2 or 3 kilos of backpack, you know, and a lot of the military standard backpacks, although they're fantastic bags, they're never going to break on you. They have the best hardware. A lot of them have a lot of extra stuff that you don't really need. I'm not too keen on a lot of the Molly system for my standard hiking pack. My day pack I have is just a regular tub, it's a regular tube, a bag with it's a top loader. It's got one zipper just on the flap. It works fantastic. But the problem with that is a suspension system. So I can't overpack it. I really need to stick to the size of it. And I think something a little bit bigger, maybe a 45 liter, 50 liter bag of that style design, but with a good suspension system would work great. What you see in the military packs like Eberlestock or those Mystery Ranch, this kind of stuff, they may be a small pack and has this huge suspension system built into it. Well, that's because size has nothing to do with weight. It's what they're putting into it. Those bags are ultra reinforced. They have a really good suspension system, and that's because a soldier or a fireman or a hunter may not need a big bulky bag, but what they do need to do is carry some heavy objects in it, like ammunition or whatever. Okay, when it comes to that, or heavy gear, or even big things of water. You know, they'll carry inside their bags. So those bags are built differently than these lightweight or these civilian bags. When I see mistakes, I feel there's a major mistake within the ultra lightweight community is their Bobo bags, their Bobo kits. Okay, you don't necessarily need a trauma kit with you when you go out and about. I'm not carrying a trauma kit with me. The advantage I have is I have how to treat trauma up here in my head. So that means I can take some things that I have on me or the person who's hurt, and I can treat them for a traumatic situation like a break, compound fracture. They have an open wound or an open injury, neck injury. You know, we've learned through the training that I had in the military how to help someone in this kind of a situation. So you don't need a lot of kit on you when it comes to first aid to do that in the offset, because if you can get in touch with emergency services, they're going to come out and then they're going to treat the person. But if you can already get them into a proper situation. I had a situation one time where a lady, she had an accident just in front of me. She ran up on the hill, the road, she went on a curve, she lost control. Where it was at, it's basically a rock wall. And this is going into the town I used to live in. If anybody knows where Saint-Sergue is at in Switzerland, as you're coming up from Nyon, the last curve when you come in, okay, it curves like this. And when it does, she lost control that night. And I was right behind her, and I saw the lights. Okay, I didn't see her actually hit it, but I know what she did is she lost control, ran up the wall, and turned over twice. And when I got there, it was crushed in. She was like a little samurai, Suzuki samurai, something like that. But I arrived. I had big first aid kit with me, this kind of stuff, but I didn't need that. What I needed to do is basically call emergency services and treat her, keep her calm, and treat her for just to make sure that there was nothing major going on. Okay, follow the ABCs, but I wanted to get her to where she was not moving around. So I happen to have blankets in my truck, this kind of stuff like that, and I was able to make a splint to go around her and to keep her head in place so she couldn't move her head around and keep her body in place. So basically I attached her to the seat and attached her head so she couldn't move. And I covered her with a blanket to keep her warm and keep from going shock because it was cold. And I had light and I had safety lights, this kind of stuff. And within 30 minutes, the ambulance had arrived, and then they was able to put her, they took all that off of her, but they were able to get her into a flat back, from the seat, and then a flat, and get her inside the ambulance and get her to where she had to go. And I recovered my blankets and stuff, and I went on home. And then that was it. But this is one of the things you got to be aware of is a first aid kit, a good Bobo kit. And one thing I'm seeing is a lot of them are not carrying, good Bobo kits, okay? This is for you. it's not for somebody else, okay? I have an individual first aid kit. It's got plenty of things I have in it just in case I have a problem, which also ranges from any kind of medications or this kind of stuff that I may need with me. I'll even throw in here, everything that I'll need for myself, I'll make a separate video for this right here. It's very simple. It's got gauzes, it's got rubber gloves, mask, it's got scissors, even it's got all that stuff I'll need just in case that I have a bobo. It has lots of little band-aids and bandages. I even have some liquid bandages kind of stuff. So I have any cuts, this kind of stuff, I can quickly do it. But I keep it in a waterproof bag. I know what it looks like. You can even mark a little something on it if you need to. But it's for me. Now, if I come up on somebody who needs some help and they don't have what they need, yeah, I'll pull it out and I'll help them with it. But in general, this is for me. And it's not very heavy. It's a little bit bulky. It's not too bad. You see the size of my hand on it, carry a proper boo-boo kit, first aid kit for yourself, bobo kit, and quit. I see people just like, oh, I carry a few little gauzes out here. I mean, what the heck? I mean, they're not really. I mean, what's one little gauze going to do if you've, if you got a splinter that was going up in your foot or something like that? You really need to do something more. You need to. There's lots of little things. If you fall down and down a little hill, you're okay. You can walk around, but you scratch yourself up pretty bad. You might want to be able to treat that with alcohol pads and clean yourself up. So it's got all this out here I need in it. So a lot of people just don't, I even carry some stuff in here for dental, and I can, and plus it's the training that I have. So this is useless if you don't know how to use it. So that's another thing. The first aid kits is one of those things I see a lot of ultralight hikers doing, really cutting out on. And I think I don't think it's a good idea. Even if you're going just for a day hike, I carry it with me just for a day hike. I've been in situations where that did really well for myself or for somebody else. Okay, something else that I see a lot of these ultralight hikers really making what I consider the biggest mistake in the world is not carrying this out there with them. And that's a map and compass. A map and compass is like a lost art with a lot of these people. They tend to rely too much on GPSs and their telephone and this kind of stuff, okay? You can lose energy from your telephone or from electronic device very quickly without you even realizing it, You won't believe how many people bump call somebody. They call them by accident. I had one a couple weeks ago from a friend of mine, and for 15 minutes, I could hear her talking, but from where she had it in her pocket, I hung up on her, not 15 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. I hung up on her, but she told me, yeah, it was going on for 15 minutes after I sent her a message, and she heard the message while she was on the phone just when she hung up. But a map and compass is one of those things you need to have wherever you're out and about, and you need to know how to use it, and not just in a basic form, but in an advanced form. You need to use this for every step of the way. Have it in a protective container, your map or something like that. Have your route maybe marked out on it, and have your compass on you, okay? And know how to use it. A lot of people, I see them on YouTube and stuff like that, talk about how, well, I don't know how to use a map and compass because I'm always using my GPS on my phone, or I have another GPS or something like that. You can go places in this world and not have any kind of cell phone coverage. So, unless you have a fixed unless you have some kind of map in there that you're following around, and look, you're going to use a lot of energy on that. So what are you going to need? You're going to need your phone. And on top of that, you're going to need something to recharge it with, because it's not going to hold more than 24 hours, even if you were to, now unless you turn it off. But if it gets cold out or something like that, it's going to go dead. Okay, so you need to have this. This is a must. This is one of those 10 essentials. And I'll be talking more about 10 essentials. I talk about them in every video I make, because 10 essentials are the most important things to have. And your cell phone is not one of the 10 essentials. It's a backup. It's an emergency device, okay? And if you're going out there carrying your cell phone so you can watch videos while you're in your sleeping bag, what the heck are you going out there for? Take your sleeping bag, pull it outside, and look at the stars. Look at nature, Stay around the fire a little bit longer. This is what you need right here. Map and compass, and know how to use it and master it. It's very important. Another thing I'm seeing out there that people are really just, and I'm shocked by this, because a lot of people just don't carry one of these. They don't carry at least a pocket knife on them, or a multi-tool or something like that. A multi-tool has a multiple use of things you can do with it, from repairing something to, if you ever watched the series Alone a couple seasons ago, this girl, who was her second time going through Alone, she had done really well, but they put her on, I think it was season 6 or 7 or something like that. Anyway, they brought her back with a bunch of other Alone stars or casts, whatever, and she didn't have anything like this on her. And she got a huge hook into her palm of her hand. I felt so bad for when I saw that because she quit because of that for like 5 days, 3 to 5 days. She had this huge hook in her hand that had gone through her hand. If she'd had one of these right here, she could have gotten it out. All she had to do was just cut off the end and just ease it out and give herself some first aid, and she would have been fine. It had been sore for a while. It may have pulled her out later, but I doubt it if she'd have taken care of it. So a good pocket knife, something as simple as this right here, which I have been carrying around for 37 years, this pocket knife right here. Even the strap is 37 years old, huh? I've had this right here for a good 15 years. I don't know when these came out. These Skeletools did. This one's a pretty good one right here. I have another Leatherman, a little bit heavier. I like this right here because you can just quickly snap it into a place, have it in your pocket. I like carrying things in my pocket when I hike, so you can take it and you can hook it in right here or put it on your belt or something like that, and you have it with you. And if you need it, you quickly have a tool, and you can do repairs. You have even a screwdriver and some other stuff on it, This right here needs a repair. It's lost a screw on it, so it needs a repair. But but it still works fine. No worries. But anyway, carry yourself some kind of a tool, a knife on you. I know these lightweight people like to carry, they carry themselves wooden stuff like that, or high-speed titanium spoons, this kind of stuff like that, so they can dig in the bottom. They're thinking about, but what if? All these what ifs matter, okay? And I use a knife every time I go out. I'm always doing something, with a pocket knife, even if it's using the tweezers on here to pull ticks off of you, which I haven't had that problem recently, but some places it's a big thing, or a toothpick. These things come in handy, okay? And so carry yourself a good pocket knife out on you. There's a lot of things you can do with it, and if you're in an emergency situation, you get a knife on you. You can also use it to cut open stuff or to, like I said, make repairs. Anyway, big mistake I see with ultralight. A couple other quick points to go with you on this is also when it comes to, wear the right kind of clothing. A lot of people tend to wear a lot more synthetic stuff. Go with wools. Merino wool is fantastic. It's lightweight. It'll keep you warm even when it's wet, and you'd be surprised how well merino wool works. You can get yourself some really lightweight, head, just to have on your head. Put it all into a waterproof bag, and throw it in there. Gloves, another thing. A lot of them bring gloves with them. They think, well, it's summertime, I don't need gloves. Well, I use gloves around if I'm doing kind of work. I want to protect my hands as much as possible. I've had some major cuts on my fingers, which that goes back to the first aid kit. It's good to try to protect them as much as you can, because this right here is what makes you a human, okay? One of the things that make you human is being able to use your opposing thumb, being able to do this right here. So wear some gloves. Right? If you have a fire, use it around the fire. Even if you're cooking something, boiling it, you'd be surprised. Get that away from the tent. Have your little stove going. Boil yourself some water for your lightweight food or whatever, and just go with that. We talked about food, goes into another subject, you need to eat something a little bit more normal than just freeze-dried food every day. It gets boring very quickly, and I know some of them are really good. They weren't so good back in the day. I remember I have been doing a Jura Crest Trail, and luckily there's a restaurant on the halfway mark after a couple of days of just eating freeze-dried food, that I can have a fondue or have a real salad or something like that, because it does get old very quickly. I haven't seen any dehydrated salad, so it's nice to have something a little bit cooler to eat, not so heavy sometimes, and to refill yourself pretty well. But carry, throw some bread in there. Have your food bag. Have yourself something in there that's a few, maybe more perishable items, but items you can pull out and snack on very quickly. It's not dry. Something that's got a little bit to it. It'll add a little bit to the weight, but it'll be much better for you in the long run, and it's more closely to do with the food that you eat at home daily. So you'll be less likely to have problems with constipation and that kind of stuff, which is something else to add into your first aid kit, stuff that will help you just in case of constipation. Make sure you pack some sun cream in there also in your first aid kit. Make sure you have insect repellent. I just went on an outing a couple weeks ago, and we had insect repellent, but I also brought my insect fly with me. So that really helped me a lot when I was able to sleep that night under my poncho, and I didn't have to have a bunch of bugs on me all night. Another thing is you can also contemplate, where's it at here? I don't see it here. I thought I had it with me. I don't see where it's at here, but what have I done with it? a little wash kit with you. And in the wash kit, make sure you got some wet wipes, some regular toilet paper to help keep the light. You know, if you have some regular toilet paper that's disposable toilet paper, stuff that's not biodegradable, when you dig your cat hole, and it's good to have a little trowel with your swine to help you to dig that, or a piece of wood or something you can make a little trowel with. You can stick on your backpack, but dig your little hole, get down a good below the soil line. You want to get a little bit deeper, and so you don't attract so many animals. But when you get down there, you want to do your business. But after cleaning yourself, first do it with the dry, and that roll, and then clean yourself up with the wet, and make sure you also clean up your hands, that kind of stuff. And try to make sure it's all disposable stuff that's biodegradable, and stuff that will not have too much of a perfume on it, because that also attracts insects and animals, that kind of stuff. So this is something that's very much a part of a lightweight or a camp out, and you want this to work well. So if you're having a problem with constipation, it can really throw you off if you're only eating something that you're not used to eating. Your body will react in one of two ways. It'll want to dump it quickly, or it'll want to hold on to it. And so that's what you got to be wary of. And make sure you drink plenty of water. And sometimes it's good to bring yourself some little powders with you that will help with dehydration, that'll help with constipation, and be able to pass this kind of stuff. So you can add all those little things to your first aid kit. Maybe you don't need it, but you may find out on a 4 or 5 day trip that after that first 2 days you may need it. So it's important for your body to be normal and to normalize it. So to get back to some more issues here, and I have a friend of mine who last summer he did the AT actually, and he videoed his entire trip. And he wasn't, now this is a guy that's probably more experienced at humping rucksacks than anybody that I ever see videos who professionally do the AT and professionally do the Pacific Coast Trail and all this kind of stuff. This guy was a former member of the U.S. Army Special Operations, and he's humped a lot of heavy rucksacks. But I didn't see any military stuff on him. What I saw on him using was a lot of good kit, and he stuck with the ABCs. He stuck with the 10 essentials. His rucksack wasn't super light, but it wasn't a heavy rucksack either. It was just what he needed, okay? And he took advantage along the AT he took a tent with him. He took everything he needed, actually, so that he would make sure that he would be able to have a comfortable trip, not too heavy, but not too light. And this is a guy that, I'm 53 years old, so we're all up in these years, okay? We're not these young guys like we were back when we were 20, who were much more capable of carrying these huge, heavy loads. But, when you do these trips, you want to enjoy yourself. So, yes, you want to go as light as possible. But you need to be aware that there are some things that can impede you along the way, and that is lack of proper nutrition, lack of water, and if you get into an emergency, not being able to deal with it, okay? And spending your entire trip on your telephone or whatever, and that's the thing. A lot of people, they carry a lot of gear on them for video and this kind of stuff. They carry their GoPros, they carry their phones on them, they carry all this stuff that they film with, and they do a lot of backwards and forwards walking, setting up the little tripod, this kind of stuff like that. I personally don't have a desire to do that. I'd rather just take pictures along the way and make a collage. But we're talking about 3 to 4 months here. But yeah, you have to be wary of these extra weights. So if you're going to carry all that with the batteries, this kind of stuff, you're cutting away from things that would probably be better for you, like food, like water, like first aid kits, like comfort items. You want a comfortable sleeping bag. You want a good, comfortable night's sleep. If not, you're not going to enjoy the next day. And if you have it only takes one bad night of sleep to really throw you off. It also takes only one bad night of sleep on some bad ground to throw your back out, okay? You need to be able to recover, and that's very much a part of the whole thing. You need to know yourself. Master your square meter, master yourself before you go off and try to master everything else. So make sure your fitness level is up. Make sure that you got your trip planned out very well, and make sure you take plenty of rest stops, this kind of stuff. A lot of people on the way, I guess they do week at a time or 2 weeks at a time, and they go down to a town or something like that, and where they recuperate. I read a really good book that was written in 1972, the first youngest guy to ever hike the PCT, and he hiked it from north to south. And although I can't remember his name, I have his book in my collection. I'd given it to someone else, my original copy, back in the 80s when I first read it. And then I went and found another copy, which was basically falling apart, but I reread it. I've read this book several times. I really enjoy it. I can't remember his name to save my life. I think you probably all know it if you're into the lightweight hiking community. He is someone very well known, but he was a very young guy. I won't say he was 18, 19 years old when he did it, maybe, that age range. And he had planned the trip out to where he was hiking 25, I think he was hiking 25 miles, or every month he had a refill at a post office. So he had a box that would go to, and then he would get his refill of food and this kind of stuff. So he was carrying a lot of heavyweight stuff with him. His bag was a big bag with a big exterior frame backpack, and yeah, he did the entire hike that way. So it's possible, and and he seemed to have been carrying all the right gear with him, because he made it, and with success. He did have I think he had a few things that happened along the way. I can't remember every little word from it, but it was a great experience. Just reading that book really set me up for loving and for longing for hiking and this kind of stuff. And I'm from Louisiana, a place that's very flat, very hot, but I still got out and spent a lot of time in nature. Most of my days were spent in nature. Even after school, I would get outside and go for walks, this kind of stuff. I really love nature that much. So, and it's hot, and the many mosquitoes, that kind of stuff. I didn't have that much gear either. I had to work my way around. I had to build up my kit, and that's a story all by itself. It may have already be a video about that somewhere, me speaking about that. But it took me a while to get there also. But anyway, there's lots of good books out there. I've read a lot of good books about the AT, about the PCT. Of course, everybody's seen the movie Wild, over here it's called Sauvage. And that Reese Witherspoon was in the movie. And just all this stuff sort of brightens you up, and I've had lots of friends of mine who've done the AT, they've done the through hikes, they've done portions. I've done portions of it myself. I've never taken the time out to do the whole thing all at one time. I've been in some Army schools where you actually spend some time on the AT by in the area of the AT by just because of location. But it's just something. This ultra lightweight hiking is very appealing, like I said, I've been working on a video. I'm working on a video right now talking about here in Switzerland, we have the Swiss, the Jura Crest Trail, actually, or the Crête de Jura. And I'm working on that. It's a 14-day hiking experience, super ultralight, because you really don't even have to camp on it. You can actually stay in chalets and B&Bs along the way, actually, if you want to. But if you're like me and you like to stay outdoors, you will carry what you need to do it with, and it'll be a little bit heavier, but it's very doable. Okay. Anyway, there's things you got to be wary of when you do these trips. Make sure you carry the right gear on you. Make sure you with the right people if you're going to be with some people, and also make sure that you're not carrying a whole bunch of stuff you don't need. Also, really tweak and work out your backpack, your system. Use it just for day hikes to make sure that it's what you need. Always, when you get back home, pull it all out, make sure it's clean, see what you've used, make sure everything's serviceable, change those batteries, and cut out what you don't need. But the 10 essentials you always need, okay? And if you don't know what 10 essentials are, check my videos. You'll see what I talk about when I talk about the 10 essentials. This is something I teach even to the Boy Scouts. When I was part of the scouting movement, I taught this to all my scouts. It's something from the Scout Handbook. I've been following this rule since I was a scout myself. Even when I was in the Army, I always carried the 10 essentials with me. Always with me. You never know, even when you might need sunglasses, okay? Even in the wintertime, okay? We go up to the Arctic, you need sunglasses. You go to the desert, you need sunglasses. You'd be surprised. Protect your eyes. But also first aid kits, extra food on you. Even for a day trip, you have something in reserve, this kind of stuff. Map and compass, extra socks on you, something for the rain, something for the weather. You don't have to go too extravagant. Of course, remember, time, weather, and terrain, they all dictate what you should not be carrying in your backpack. I have, right now we've had a really rainy snap happen here. It's warm during the day. At night it gets quite cool up here up in the mountains right here around Switzerland. So here we are we're in the beginning of July. And last year, I went on a camp out with a good friend of mine, and it was so cold at night where we were at up on the Jura that we were freezing. We were literally freezing, you know, and we didn't carry sleeping bags. We carried poncho liners, and luckily we weren't too far away from my vehicle, so we were able to get back, grab a few little extra things, walk out there. It was a bit of a hump, but we got it back out there, and we were able to sleep more comfortable. And yeah, it can get cold, and you'd be surprised when and where. So thank you for watching this video. And if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, you know, leave a comment. If you don't like it, let me know. I've seen some videos where somebody gave me a thumbs down on, and I'd like to know why, because I'm wanting to grow and learn continuously. Like I said, I'm 53 years old. I don't know it all, but I know a lot. And the lot I do know, I want to try to help you out and give you some of my experience, okay? I don't want to go tell you all the experience I have, but I have a lot. I've been doing this for a while, especially the outdoor side. And when it comes to gear and this kind of stuff like that, I have used and tested a lot of it. And I know what works, what I like. Matter of fact, which is funny, I'm about to do a complete circle when it comes to gear. I got a buddy of mine who picked up for me a large Alice pack with the frame in Budapest. And he's going to get it to me in the next few weeks. And I'm going to go back to something that I went away from 26 years ago with a smile on my face. But for some reason, I've never been able to find something that met up to that what that backpack could do. And that is carry my gear the way I want to carry it. And the only problem with it all those years is that because I jumped out of airplanes, we really weren't able to use, you know, the suspension system was really crappy. So you're carrying it on your back, directly on your shoulders. And up to 65 pounds, and then it's not a great pack for carrying a whole lot of weight. But I don't want to carry a lot of weight. I just want to carry what I carry with me the most comfortable possible. So I'm going to work on also the suspension system for that pack and try to tweak it a little bit for a few different areas if I can, which is possible nowadays. There are a lot of companies that make the suspension system for the Alice pack. But anyway, I get off. Thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share with all your friends, and even with your non-friends, share the channel with them. Matter of fact, if you don't like somebody, share the channel. And I hope you enjoyed the video, okay? And please leave a comment down below. I really want to hear from you. And I look forward to seeing you again the next time. I hope you all have a great evening, and I'll be back with you very soon. Goodbye. The button is not working again. I don't know why. Boy, I have more trouble when it comes to technology. Anyway, bye.